watching this, you're addicted to sugar. You're addicted not only to sugar, you're addicted to food. I work in the funeral industry. One day I was at work and I went into the mortuary and I had to do 3 people that day. All 3 of them were men, the same age as me. They were dead, of course. So I brought the first one into the mortuary and I thought, oh, cricky, that guy looks just like me. He looks exactly like me. 270 pounds. He looked exactly the same. I thought, oh my goodness, that's bad. The other 2 were exactly the same again. I couldn't believe it. I thought, if somebody's trying to send me a sign, this isn't good. I said to my missus as I was sitting down, I said, right, I'm going to go carnivore. She said, oh my God, you can't do that. She said, you're going to die. You're going to kill yourself. And a guy kept coming up on the algorithm. Dr. Ken Berry. Dr. Ken Berry saved my life. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I was 270 pounds within carnivore. I'd gone down to 154 pounds. I've changed my wardrobe 3 times. I was triple XL down to small. I lost all the fat off my body. You want to tell everybody, you want to tell the whole world, not to shout it from the rooftops because it feels so awesome. Just try it for 30 days.
Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity, the Power of a Proper Human Diet. And today I'm thankful, grateful, blessed to welcome Bill Adams to the channel. Welcome, Bill. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely awesome, my friend, and it's really, really good to speak to you. I was watching a video of yours with a guy called Alex from Little Tulp. It was about 4 or 5 weeks ago, in which you showed a before and after picture of both you and Alex. And you were saying at the time how inspirational it is for people who are maybe starting on the carnivore diet to see before and after pictures. And I thought, you know what, I agree with that. Because when I was starting carnivore, seeing the before and after pictures was something which really motivated me to give it a try. And so I thought, yeah, you're right. Well, I've got some before and after pictures. I thought what I'm going to do is put them onto Facebook, onto the World Carnivore Tribe page, and just show everybody, what the difference it makes. And so I put onto the post that I've been doing it for 760 days now. I had 2 before pictures, 2 after pictures. And I tell you what, there was the amount of people who liked it and loved it, and it really feels good to be able to inspire people like that, And one of the comments was actually from you. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting on the settee next to my missus, Sheila, looking through the comments and stuff. I said, hey, Kerry Mann's just been on. She said, who's Kerry Mann? I said, the guy I was watching 4 days ago who inspired me to put these pictures on, that's him. And she said, oh, that's fantastic. And it was. That's really, really chuffed to bits. You wouldn't believe me. The amount of inspiration that you give to people, Kerry, is fantastic. I love your passion for it. I must admit, I feel pretty much the same myself. When you're on carnivore and you start feeling, you really start getting into it. You want to tell everybody. You want to tell the whole world, not to shout it from the rooftops because it feels so awesome compared to what it was before. But I found that you'd probably found the same yourself when you're speaking to people that think you're nuts. This guy's obviously crazy. What do you think he's doing? Eating just meat. It doesn't seem possible. And I must admit, even to myself, before I started carnivore, I thought that just doesn't sound right. It can't possibly work. That is crazy. So I was one of those people. And that's how I said to you, thanks very much, and what an inspiration. Well, you replied and said, thanks very much, and you got an open invitation to come on to my video channel. Here I am.
Here we are.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. That's so cool. I'm with you. It's It's like you went through something really hard to get here. I went through
Yeah.
something really hard, and there's sort of a kinship there. And then you see other people, many people that are all going through something very hard and suffering. You just like, it's so easy. Just do this.
Just
But
do it. Yeah.
they don't want to listen. It's hard to, but I think the best way to get them to listen is to inspire them. Someone will see your story, Bill, and they'll be like, man, I can resonate with that guy, Bill. I can relate to him.
Yeah.
And that's how we hopefully help people.
Yeah, we want to help people. It's in my nature. I want to help. I want to help people. You know, I think I've helped about 4 people at the moment. That's it, in my small circle of friends and work colleagues, to change and give carnivore a try. I say to them, just try it. Just try it for 30 days. It's not going to kill you. You can't harm yourself, not in 30 days, but you'll make yourself feel so much better. It is absolutely incredible. So 4 of them have tried it to varying degrees. And they've been quite successful. Yeah, lost a lot of weight, feeling better. As soon as they start feeling better, and you get up to the sort of 90 days, you can see people think, I did the same myself. You get up to 90 days and think, do you know what? I'm not going to change. That is it for me. That is fantastic. I've never, ever felt so good in my life. So here I am, yeah. 760 days, 2 years later, I'm still there.
It's incredible. Going back, what led you to carnivore? What sort of health problems did you have?
Well, health problems I've had, well, I've been fat all my life. Apart from maybe a few years. I joined the army when I was 16. Obviously, with all the training and stuff that you get in the army, I lost a lot of weight. But I found out after a few years, after I found alcohol, after I started drinking when I was sort of 18, it very, very quickly crept back on. I've always been big, right from a child. I didn't realize at the time. I realize now when looking back, but I was a sugar addict and a carbohydrate addict. But when you're a child, you don't realize that that's what it is. I was one of the only fat kids in school. This is like during the 60s, when there wasn't very many of these people back, and I was one of them, unfortunately, because you get bullied and you get the mickey taken out of you all the time. I went through after I left the army in the early 80s. From then on, I've been a big fella, always around 19 stone, which is in pounds, is about 270 pounds. I had big man boobs, and that was the worst thing for me. Man boobs and hips, if you call them love handles or beach hips, whatever you want. That's what I had. And I was ashamed of them. I used to cover up. I used to be like sort of trying to keep yourself small for other people, wearing big clothes and stuff like that. It wasn't until I found Carnivore that they completely gone. Absolutely amazing. And that's something that I've wished for all my life. And it's happened. Giddy. Yeah. So, when were we at?
What led you to carnivore, or what inspired you to do it? Because I found it from YouTube, and I was just talking to someone, Bill. I'm like, YouTube has its pros and cons, but I don't know that I would have found carnivore without YouTube, unless I have Dr. Sean Baker as a neighbor. Like, no one else is talking about this.
Yeah, it was YouTube where I found it. It started actually a few years ago. I'll explain a bit about myself, what I do. I'm 65-year-old. For a job, I work in the funeral industry. I'm an embalmer. I've done that for 33 years. And I've done sort of, thousands and thousands of cases. This was about 7 years ago. One day I was at work and I went into the mortuary and I had to do 3 people that day. All 3 of them were men, the same age as me. they were dead, of course. So I brought the first one into the mortuary, and I thought, oh, cranky, that guy looks just like me. He looks exactly like me. He was about 19 stone, 270 pounds, somewhere around there. Facially, and do you know where the fat's distributed on your body? He looked exactly the same. I thought, oh my goodness, that's bad. The other two were exactly the same again. I couldn't believe it. I thought if somebody's trying to send me a sign, that was it. You know, it struck me like a bolt of lightning. I spoke to one of my colleagues who was saying, "Oh, yeah, the first guy that you've looked after, he's he was a drinker. He loved his drink. He loved to go out all the time, and he'd actually been out with his family for a family meal somewhere, and unfortunately fell down dead. I felt so sorry for him. Felt so sorry for his family. Same age as me, and I thought, you know what? I've got to do something. And with me, it was alcohol. I don't know if it gets talked about much on the carnivore journey that people go on, but alcohol was the thing which I had to kick first. I didn't realize at the time how addicted I was to it. I thought I was just normal, but I definitely was addicted to alcohol. I knew at that moment that I had to change. And so what I did was I just quite simply gave up. That was it. I thought I'm not being the next person on my table. I'm not going to be that person. I've got to make a big change in my life. And the thing is with carnivore, what I've found is when I'm speaking to other people, when I say to friends and family what I'm doing, every single one of them without fail has said, "Oh, can you still drink?" And I'm like, no, that's no. And that seems to trip a lot of people up. They say, if they say, "Can you still drink?" and I say, "No," then I'll say, "Well, I'm not doing it then." And that's it. They just give up because they can't stand the thought of being without alcohol. Well, to me, that says you've got a problem and you don't even know it. And well, there is an awful lot of people who have the problem with alcohol and they don't even know it. It's the same as the addiction with sugar and carbs. You don't know you're addicted. You don't know until you try and stop. Then you find out real quick. So that was 7 years ago. I gave up alcohol. I did really well. It was hard. Of course, it's hard giving up something that you're addicted to. It wasn't like I was drinking sort of bottles and bottles of whiskey or anything like that. It's strange how it creeps on. With, you go for a meal at home and you think, "Oh, let's just have a glass of wine." And you think, "Oh, I might have a couple of beers later on." And so you don't realize, but over time, you're drinking every single night. All of your social activity, all my social activity, revolved around drinking and going out for meals, going out with other couples, all doing the same thing. So it seems normal and natural to be going out and getting drunk every night and eating loads and loads of stuff. But that's what life was like. At that time, me and the missus hung around with about 10 other couples. We were always at each other's houses. We were always out for drinks on the night and then go for a meal later on, stuff like that. So when I stopped drinking, that sort of put paid to that. And my missus was really upset about the fact that I'd ruined according to her, ruined our social life. We can't go out anymore. We can't see our friends. And you think, well, if that's why I'm drinking and eating so much, is just to be social, that's wrong. I've really got to change. I've really got to change that. So instead of a social life, going out with friends and drinking and eating, I have at times gone to the pub with friends after I'd stopped drinking and just sat there drinking water. and noticing the changes which go on. You've got a group of friends sitting around you, and the first couple of drinks, they start and get a little bit louder, and then it gets raucous, and then in 2 hours' time, they've fallen over. And I think, God, I used to do that. I can't believe that I used to do that, but I did. The next thing I started to do was to try and take some exercise, go walking. Me and the missus got together and decided we were going to do something called the 1,000-mile challenge, which is you've got to walk 1,000 miles in a year, and sort of documented on Facebook and stuff like that. You think that's going to be easy? You think, oh, it's only like 2.5 miles a day. I don't know, I can do that. But you've only got to miss a couple of days, and then you've got to walk 7 miles on the next day, and then, it goes on like that. So I did something about that, started walking, we were walking fine, but I was still chunky, fat, and I wanted to lose weight. And I went on to calorie restriction, which just does not work. It doesn't work for me. I cannot moderate. As soon as you're eating something sweet or a carbohydrate, a couple hours later you're starving hungry. And if you're on a calorie restricted diet, you're trying to stop yourself. You're stopping yourself from eating anything, which is starvation. So your body's not getting any nutrients, and you're actually starving yourself. So you've got no hope at all for keeping that up. Not a chance. Not a chance either. So I started looking further into this weight loss thing, and I heard about fasting. I hadn't gone onto YouTube to find out anything by then, but I'd heard about fasting. Thought, oh, I'll give that a try. And so instead of looking into it, I did 3 days without eating anything. Well, I nearly fell over, didn't I? Because I was starving by that time. I had to go and see somebody. And when I got there, they said, oh my God, you look ill. Are you all right? And I said, well, I'm trying this fasting. I haven't eaten for 3 days. Here, have something to try to force food into me, get this guy back to normal. So I did all that. I think it was 2022. I'd been doing walking and fasting and trying everything. Nothing worked for me. One of the things that happened was I got a lump in my neck, just there. And so, of course, I went to the doctors to see, what they could do. The doctor said, we're going to have to refer you to the local cancer ward where they're going to do a diagnosis. No, cancer. Neck. This isn't good. It's really worrying time. So I went to the hospital. It was called the Magnolia Ward, which is supposed to be a nice place. I make it sound nice. But when you get there, it's sort of, let me explain. It's like a big waiting room with a desk at the end. And there's lots of people with cancer getting chemotherapy. And I'm thinking, this is horrible. What am I doing here? Have I got cancer? Am I going to die? Which is, I suppose, what everybody else thinks when you get there. Went to see the doctor, said, oh yes, we're going to do a biopsy on that. And we'll give you the results in a couple of weeks' time. But, one of the things I did when I went to that ward, the first thing they had to do was weigh me. So I stood on the scales, and I don't know what was worse, the lump in my neck or the fact that I'd put on all the weight. I'd put it all back on after sort of 3 to 4 years of calorie restriction and really walking till my legs. I went through 3 pair of trainers, I couldn't believe I put all this weight back on. So that really annoyed me as well. I was called back to the ward on November the 11th. I remember it very well. November the 11th in the UK is our Remembrance Day. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we will remember them. Always remember it. Because I was a squaddy, I was a soldier. It played a big part in my life. And I was sat there in the waiting room. And by this time, the lump on my neck was like a golf ball. You know? I was thinking, this is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't know what's going to happen here. And because it was Remembrance Day, and my appointment was for 11:15, something like that, in the ward there was a big television screen. And on it came the Remembrance Day parade, where they played the last post. I think, oh no, is this an omen? This is really, really bad. When I was there was a poor guy in front of me, in a bench in front of me. And the doctor came out to see him and said, Mr. whatever his name was, Mr. Smith or whatever, you can come in now. And this fellow looked terrible. He said, can I bring my wife in? And so them two went in, were given some extremely bad news, I would think, and he came out in tears and walked past me, and I was the next one in. Oh, no. Anyway, I went in, see the doctor. She said, how are you doing? Great. Apart from the lump on my neck. And she said, well, good news is it's benign. It's not going to spread. You're going to be all right. And what it is something called a Warthin's tumor. And it won't go away. What we're going to have to do is give you surgery and cut it out. I thought, oh, right, good. Whoosh, that's a big weight off his shoulder. That's a big weight off his shoulders. I must say, just before this, while I was going to the ward and getting the biopsy, I'd already decided, I'd come to the decision in my mind that if it was cancer and it was going to spread, I wasn't going to have any treatment. So I said to my missus and I said to my son, I've decided I don't want to go through any chemotherapy or anything like that. If this is cancer, this is my time. And that's it. I'm going. I'll be quite happy. Thank you very much. 63 at the time of my life. So that was it. Luckily that didn't happen. It was benign. So I came out of there skipping and jumping, thinking, this is great. I'm not going to die of cancer. Fantastic. But I was still pretty miffed about the fact that I put all my weight back on. I thought, now, the next thing is to get rid of this, is to really go for it and do something about it, get rid of it. And that was November 22. So what I did was I started watching YouTube. The first person I come across, because I'd dabbled in fasting, I thought maybe the best thing I can do is try a fasting diet. So I started watching a guy called Sten Ekberg. I don't know if you've heard of him, Dr. Sten Ekberg.
Yeah.
And he explained at the time, in terms which I could understand, about insulin resistance. And it blew my mind. It really rocked me backwards. I thought I could understand exactly what he was saying. If you've got insulin resistance, it locks the fat away in your body. There's no way your body can use that fat as energy, that stored energy. It can't use it. It's locked away because your insulin is always high because of what you're eating. And when you're eating carbs, the sugar in your blood goes up. The insulin goes up. It doesn't drop as fast as the sugar, but you're hungry a couple of hours later, you'll eat more. So the insulin just goes up and up and up. For me, it must have been like that 50 years, at least 50 years of high insulin. And I thought, just brilliant. That's obviously what it is. At the same time, when you're watching YouTube, you get different videos suggested to you. And one of them was a guy who was a heart surgeon called Dr. Padraig, something, I can't remember his name. But he was brilliant. He said something on the video which really got me. Because he was a heart surgeon, I was interested. He was an advocate of fasting as well. And he explained all about the insulin resistance going up and down. But one of the things he said, anybody watching this, he says, you're addicted to sugar. I'm like, addicted to sugar? You're addicted not only to sugar, you're addicted to food. I'm like, what? How's it possible to be addicted to food? You've got to have food to live. How is that possible? Once he started explaining, I thought, he's right. I'm addicted to sugar. And when I look back over my life, I could see it all. I became addicted when I was a child, and it never ever stopped. And I thought, well, I wonder, is it possible to break the sugar addiction? Got to be. I've already done alcohol. I've broke that. If I'm addicted to sugar, I can break that. And with stuff like a sugar addiction, it only takes a couple of weeks to break that habit, to break that addiction. It takes 2 weeks. For me, it was 2 weeks. The alcohol was a little bit longer. I thought this is going to be easy. Sugar, done. No problem. I've got that under control. I'm going to break that. So that's what I did. That's what I tried to do. I gave up sugar, gave up anything with sugar in, gave it up. I tell you what, it's hard. It's one of the toughest, I think it's one of the toughest things to do. It was worse than alcohol for me. Giving up sugar, the cravings are unbelievable, out of this world. So I was consuming lots and lots and lots of YouTube videos on fasting, on giving up sugar, and carbs. And a guy kept coming up on the algorithm, Dr. Ken Berry. I could see it I could see the little thumbnail, Dr. Ken Berry, carnivore. No, just flipped past that. I thought that can't work, possibly. But I eventually watched one of his videos, and I'll tell you what, Kerry, Dr. Ken Berry saved my life. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Puts it in terms that you can understand. And he was advocating the carnivore diet. Now, so I'd been sort of playing with cutting out sugar, fasting, trying to cut down carbs. And I started watching Dr. Berry, and I thought, you know what, this sounds crazy, but I might just try that. So of course, once you start watching Dr. Berry, you get Dr. Anthony Chaffee. If you want to take advice on diet from anybody, look at that guy. That's who you want to look like. And he's been a carnivore for 10 years. I think, well, obviously that works. Obviously. And when you start watching, the good thing about the YouTube is you get lots and lots of doctors telling you these people are really changing people's lives, They are the same as you're doing, changing people's lives with the advice that they give. It's fantastic. So I started watching Dr. Berry, watching Dr. Chaffee, watching Dr. Baker, watching Dr. Kiltz. Everybody who you know. And I would say that one of the things before, if there's anybody thinking of starting carnivore, one of the things before you do it is do some research. Get as much into your head as you can. Do the research. It's all out there. All the medical papers and everything are out there. All these doctors are there to help you. They're not making money from it or nothing like that. They're there to help you. They want to help you. So it came to mid-January of 24, is it? No, it can't be. No, mid-January 23. And I'd done all my research. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And I said to my missus as I was sitting down, I said, right, I'm going to go carnivore. She said, oh my God,
Quick interruption. Did you know we have an incredible membership site for you called feelinghumanity.life? We have a special offer going on right now. Learn more at the link in the description. We have courses. We have expert Q&As with the good doctors. We even have a Healing Humanity Heroes Zoom call once a week, highlighting real heroes that will inspire you on a path to healing. The community is wonderful. We're going to be implementing a buddy system so you can be held accountable, recipes, all sorts of great stuff to help you on a path to heal. Learn more at the link in the description below.
You can't do that. She said, you're going to die. You're going to kill yourself. I said, well, I don't know about that. What makes you think that? What are you going to do for fiber? I said, well, apparently you don't eat fiber. Well, what are you going to do about your fruit? What are you going to do about your vegetables? You need fruit, you need vegetables. You need fiber, you're going to die. And so, I said, well, I tell you what, we're going to find out. Which give her a bit of a shock. What do you mean we're going to find out? We're going to find out because I'm going to do it anyway. So I started Carnivore mid-January. And I must admit, the first couple of weeks, the first 2 weeks were hard because I was still giving up sugar, but I gave up the carbs as well. Knocked everything out, so I wasn't getting one bit of carbohydrate into my body. And you feel all right. You get the most intense cravings to eat carbs, but you just got to battle through it. And I found that after a couple of weeks, it becomes really, really easy. Just stops. The cravings for the sugar stop. The cravings for carbohydrate just stops. One thing that did happen was when you're going through I'll call it the transition period. When you go through the transition period, you've got to change your gut bacteria. So the good bacteria which you have had for all these years, which fed off carbohydrates and sugar, that gets evacuated pretty quick when all the other good bacteria that you eat when you're on carnivore comes in. The rest of it goes. So I had a rush to the bathroom, I think, twice in that period of time. Once that was over, that was it. After the first couple of weeks, I was losing weight like crazy, like real crazy. I could not believe it. I've changed my wardrobe 3 times from I was like triple XL down to small. But in between, I changed my wardrobe 3 times. It was just incredible. And of course, my man boobs went. It was like, I'd have my shirt off every time I could. It was absolutely amazing. Love it.
Wow. Bill, you're a good storyteller, man. You got me on the edge of the seat right here. It's so good. You know, you got me emotional too when you said Dr. Barry saved your life, because he was a big part of my journey as well. I learned this from an individual on YouTube, Dante Ferrigno. But it wasn't until I watched about 1,000 Dr. Barry videos that I decided to start Carnivore. And you're absolutely right too. I love your advice. Anyone because I have a lot of new people that are watching or considering Carnivore. It's so true. You have to do your research, but it's all free. It's like, that was the thing I found with Dr. Barry. I was so cynical, and I didn't have any trust for doctors, including Dr. Barry at the time. So I'm like, what is he selling? Like, I kept watching more and more videos, and I got like 1,000 videos in. I'm like, wait a minute. He just told me everything I need to know, and it's free. Like, he's not selling anything. He's just trying to help people.
But you think, well, what's the catch? There must be a catch somewhere. Right. He's got to be making money somewhere. What? No, he's a genuine fella. I mean, you met the guy. These are genuine people. They want to help people.
He became a doctor because he wants to heal people. And for many years he wasn't, until he found this. And now, well, I get a little emotional when you said, Dr. Barry, you saved my life. I did a video a couple of months ago where I'm like, I have heard so many people say, Dr. Barry saved my life. And I went through all of these comments and I made a video for Dr. Barry called Dr. Barry, you saved my life. And, like, it was almost getting annoying because the video was going so long with people saying, you saved my life, Dr. Barry. Dr. Barry, you saved my life. Dr. Barry, you saved my life. Over and over and over again. You know, it's, for me, it's amazing. But kind of like you, I'm like, this should be front page news. This is criminal that people don't know about it. Not that Dr. Barry wants any accolades or awards, but there's so many people out there that were suffering like you were, Bill, and like I was. And it's like, here's the answer. You just want other people to hear about it. So your weight started coming off quickly. Did anything change with your cognition, your mental ability, brain fog, things like that?
Yeah. I didn't realize I had brain fog. I didn't know. Not until I got about 2 months into Carnivore, and suddenly things became clear. You don't know that you've got brain fog until you step out of the brain fog and look back and think, oh, crikey, what was wrong with me? It was, brain fog. So that came on an awful lot. Things like tiredness. I spend a lot of time driving during the day. I work at lots of different places up and down the country. I drive about 200 miles a day. And what I used to find was, before I started Carnivore, I would have to pull off the road and go to sleep. Like, take half an hour break, go and have a coffee, try and wake myself up, and then drive off. And then I'd come home and at night time, flop down on the settee, watch the telly, go to sleep, have to go to bed, and then get up and start the whole thing the next day. I was always tired. I was also an angry driver, I would call myself, because a lot of time spent on motorways, freeways, I suppose you call them. Anybody who came past me, or anybody who was sitting in the wrong lane, or I'd be pipping my horn, I'd be waving my arms. God, what a terrible thing. It's all down to stress, I think. But I've stopped. That's stopped now. I'm such a calm driver. It's unbelievable. I spend all day going up and down the motorway just the same, but putting along, singing to music, I never flash my lights or pip the horn at anybody anymore. It just doesn't happen. I just feel calm. Yeah. Great.
Well, one thing that's really interesting about your story is you overcame addiction to alcohol, and then you overcame an addiction to carbs and sugar. And you kind of alluded to this earlier, but this was something I realized. It's like, I don't think people realize it, but when you have an addiction, even an addiction to carbs or sugar, it kind of takes your free will, because you're always, similar to how you were with the alcohol, everything revolves around the alcohol or going out to eat. And when you're addicted to food, it seems normal, but everything revolves around food. What are we going to eat? What are we going to do next? And it kind of steers your path. It kind of steals your path in life. I know it did for me. I mean, I had brain fog and fatigue, and it was just, what are we going to eat next? What are we going to do next? And I'd come home and just kind of plop down on the couch and do sort of the bare minimum because of that addiction. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that or addiction, but I love how you spoke about addiction, because I've talked about that a little bit on my channel. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I believe the majority of humanity is addicted to carbs and sugar. It's highly addictive. We eat it since birth, and I don't think a lot of people admit it. And I think it's an important discussion, because you said this earlier. You lost a whole bunch of weight fasting and calorie restricting, and that's hell. That's so hard to do. And then when you get to the end of that and you gain it all back. And I have personally done that myself over and over and over again. There's nothing more discouraging in the world to work so hard to lose all that weight, struggle and suffer, and then gain it all back. And I think we gain it all back because we're addicted and we don't realize it. So I'm always trying to get the word on there, but I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that or addiction.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do realize that I've been addicted to it. Addicted to sugar and carbs. The worst thing about it is you don't know that you're addicted to it. You don't realize that it's an actual addiction. You think it's just normal. Everybody does it, so it must be okay. But I would say to anybody, if you think you're not addicted to it, try and give it up for 3 days. 3 days. Give up sugar. And your body will very, very quickly tell you how addicted you are to it. It's absolutely crazy. It drives you to do strange things, being addicted to sugar and carbs. It drives you to, well, eat all the time. I'm constantly thinking about food. Like you say, when you go to the supermarket, you're wondering what to buy. What can I have for lunch today? Or what can I have for breakfast tomorrow? Or what sides am I going to put with that? Or what do I need to cook? And what do I need to prepare? And what do I need to do? I used to be like that. I was like that 50 odd years. Not anymore. If I do go to the supermarket, I know where I'm going. Straight to the butter, grab the butter, or straight to the steak, and that's it. I'm off. And I was saying to my missus, it's almost like, for me, it's almost like walking into some sort of movie set where these people have something driven into their heads to make them into sort of zombies. They don't know what they're doing. They go on autopilot, pushing the trolleys around. I used to do it myself. Autopilot, pushing the trolley around. Oh, I need this, and I've got to have this to make this, and I've got to have that. Now, we might need a new pan. Everything revolves around your addiction to food. And once you've broke that addiction, life becomes you get so much more time in your life to think about other things, to read books, to enjoy your life. It must give you 6 hours a day more than what you had before, because you were thinking constantly of food.
There's so much freedom that never would have expected. Eating just meat brings an incredible amount of freedom. But speaking of eating, people always ask this question. For me, I always find it a weird question because I'm carnivore, I eat meat. But what is your typical meal like nowadays?
It is. I can tell you exactly what it is, Curry. I eat. I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning, which I never used to be before. I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning. I eat half a pound of bacon, 4 eggs, and half a pound of butter. On an evening, about 6 o'clock, so there's 12 hours in between the meals that I have. I eat 2 pounds of steak, ribeye steak, with another half a pound of butter. And a lot of people say to me, why do you eat so much butter? Well, actually, I like the taste of it. And once you get a good taste for it, and you know how much good it does you can't stop slicing it off. I have it next to my steak or my bacon and eggs. I just take slices off and eat it. And I've found the more butter I eat, the more weight I would lose. Sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just the plain fact. The more butter I eat, the more weight I'll lose. Up to a certain point, my body tells me when I've eaten too much butter or fat, so it'll take me straight to the toilet, straight to the bathroom, and that's how I know that amount is perfect. That's perfect for me. So, and that's what I eat every single day. I have had changes in the past where I've eaten just meat instead of the bacon and eggs. I'll just have steak, and then I'll just have steak on a night. That's the lion diet, isn't it? So I've done that for a good 4 weeks. But it didn't make any difference to me, and I like the taste of bacon. So I went back to bacon. It's just so simple. Occasionally I'll eat calf's liver because it tastes nice, and it's packed full of nutrients. So dense in nutrients. Maybe that would be about once every 3 weeks, something like that. Occasionally I'll have fish if I feel like it, but not too keen. I'd rather just eat steak. I've sometimes had minced, well, you call it ground beef. I'll buy a pound of ground beef, make full quarter pound of burgers, fry them up, and that's it. A couple of eggs. Yeah, but mainly meat.
What has been your total, if you don't mind sharing, total weight loss or were there any other major like off scale victories, things that changed for you significantly?
Yeah, in the weight loss, I wrote it down actually in the pounds because we deal in stones. It's like 14 pound to a stone. So I was 270 pounds, which is 19 stone. Within, I think, the first 3 to 4 months of carnivore, I'd gone down to 154 pounds, which was 11 stone. A short while after that, I dropped another 7 or 8 pounds, but I was far too skinny, just like, so I stopped it. Yeah, so that's how much I lost. And I've been 11 stone, or what is it, 160 pounds now for 18 months. It doesn't move. Doesn't matter what I eat, doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't move.
So you're well over 100 pounds.
But yeah, 112 pounds. 112 pounds. Absolutely
Wow.
crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm 6 foot tall, and people say, "Oh, you need to be eating that many." No, I've lost all the fat off my body. I've got no fat left. And I found out during the journey on carnivore, after I'd lost all the fat, there was just like nothing left. And most of the skin's gone as well, mind. I used to see people who go on diets and lose lots and lots of weight, and they'd have loads of loose skin. And they'd have to go and get surgery to get all this skin cut off or taken out. I've got none of that. And I don't know what that's down to. I think it must be down to carnivore. It must be. There's nothing else it could be. So I've got no loose skin, or a little bit, maybe. I'm 65, I've got a little bit of loose skin. Can't even grab it. But once you've lost all the fat, your body starts to sort of want more food. You start to crave food a bit more. And obviously, because I dropped so much, my body was thinking, "Well, I've eaten all the fat now. Put some food in because we need to build some muscle." And that's what I did. I only lost a couple of months, and then you get back into your normal routine after you've gone through a hungry period. So now it's like a maintenance period, like for the rest of my life, no period. For the rest of my life, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be bacon, eggs, butter, and steak. That's it. I won't deviate from that at all. It's just not worth it. When you found something that's this good, why would you change it? You think, could it get any better? Well, I don't know. I doubt it. No, doubt it very much. Probably going to be the same.
Right. What has it been like for, you mentioned your missus.
Yeah. She has had to eat her own words. Not so long back. I said, "You know what? Here we are. I've been on this for 2 years. And you know what? I haven't died through lack of fiber. I haven't died because I haven't eaten any fruit, and I haven't died because I haven't eaten any vegetables. So all of the things that you said were just plain wrong." And she said, "No, sorry, yeah, I was wrong." Yeah. I had to get one over on this.
That's awesome. One other question I had was, you're counting this by the days, which I do as well. I'm on day 708. Is there a reason for that?
No. It just, no. Instead of giving a rough estimate to people, well, a couple of years, it's 18 months, whatever, I'll count it in days. So they were exactly 760 days. Crikey, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it's an absolute doddle to do. And that seems to be one of the things that people can't get hold of, is how easy it is. How easy it is not to eat carbs or sugar anymore. How easy it is just to eat steaks, like Sheila says, my missus. How can you eat that every single night? I say, well, it tastes good, and I love it. But That's why I do it. Fantastic. It gives me body everything I need. Every nutrient that my body needs comes from that. And it works great.
Yeah, I'm with you. 708 days and I'm not sick of steak. I love every bite of it. It's weird. It's hard to explain to people because I would think it would get boring too, but
Yeah.
something changes where you're no longer eating food for entertainment and it's sustenance. And that's really how it should be. That's how it is for every other species on this planet. It's not like we're lacking anything. I eat a steak. I feel great. I'm thankful for it. I still do really like the taste of it too, though. But, one thing that you said that really stood out too was very interesting. I've interviewed a lot of carnivores, and for our documentary, I was very fortunate and blessed to interview Dr. Philip Ovadia, the heart surgeon.
Yeah.
And- Yeah, he wrote a book called "Stay Off My Operating Table," and it was kind of interesting because I heard you say earlier you didn't want to end up on your mortuary table.
Yeah.
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 So that's my kind of closing thought here for Bill is maybe you should write a book, stay off my mortuary table.
Yeah.
It's true. Like on that front, has your sort of why or perspective changed? So, like a lot of people do carnivore, you were overweight, you had the man boobs, you had the other issues, just like I did, same thing. But then you get to your goal and a lot of people are like, okay, now I'm to my goal. Now I can go back to moderation or I can go back to something. And you almost need to change your reason why you're doing this. Has your reason why changed now that you've reached most of your goals?
No. Well, maybe the reason why, because I've stopped losing weight, but I wouldn't stop eating the way that I do because it's healthy. It's healthy. That's what we should be eating. I wouldn't change it for the world. No. So the goal has changed. I don't need to lose weight anymore. But I wouldn't change the way that I eat. Yeah.
Do you think differently about sort of a longer term why in terms of getting older and maybe avoiding dementia or Alzheimer's or some of these other diseases we get? A lot of them are just from having chronic inflammation, probably from the foods we're eating.
Yeah. Well, it's from sugar, mainly Alzheimer's, cancers. I don't want any of that. I see that all the time, Curry. I see it all the time, and I don't want to go down that path. And I know that this way of living and this way of eating, I'm going to avoid that. Probably, I would say.
Right.
Can't say for definite. Probably.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, you never know, but I feel like my odds are a heck of a lot better now. I don't, that was another question I had for you too is, so you're longer than me. I'm 708 days. The other thing I've noticed in the 708 days is rarely, well, not at all, have I been sick. Like I used to get flu, colds, bronchial infections, all this stuff over and over again. I get like none of that. Have you noticed any change in your immune system?
Yes. Same as you. I don't get colds. I don't get flus. I don't get sniffles. I don't get anything. It's like I've put on some protective suit against bacteria and viruses. I just don't get anything. They don't touch me. And I'm convinced that's through carnivore. It must be. It's because I used to get a lot. I used to be always sniffling. I used to be taking paracetamol all the time for, I've got a headache, I've got a pain, I've got this, I've got that. No, none of that. Not one bit. Fantastic.
Yeah. I think that's because we're doing carnivore, but you mentioned this a little bit earlier. It's something I've been exploring more, but I think the other reason is a lot of our immune system relies on our gut and our gut health. And I don't think there's any better way to fix our gut health, our gut microbiome than carnivore. Even just like when you were drinking alcohol, that was probably damaging your gut biome, or taking medication, carbs and sugar. Now all of those things are gone. That's one of the reasons I still count by the day. I'm on day 708 because I'm like, I feel like I'm heading towards just a pristine gut health. Like if I had a little slip up here or there, it's okay. People slip up from time to time, but I I feel like the longer I go, the more pristine that gut health is going to get. The immune system gets stronger and everything kind of follows after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to happen for you.
Yeah.
I think it happens. I think it happens to all of us who take the carnivore lifestyle on. You become immune to bacteria and viruses which have found their way into people who eat a lot of carbs and sugar. Unfortunately, I don't know how that works exactly. Maybe maybe somebody could look into it, but that's what I think happens. I was talking to Shayna about it. The, the the gut microbiome, which lives in people who eat sugar and carbs, is completely different to what is in us. But it still controls your whole body. We're sort of living in a body which is controlled by the gut microbiome. It tells the brain what to do. It tells your stomach what to do. It tells everything what to do. It sends signals through your body, which is a hunger signal, or sends signals which says, we need this or we need that.
Yeah.
It's all to benefit that stuff which is in your stomach.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not to benefit you in any way at all. It becomes like the enemy to me. Oh, really? That I want some good stuff in there. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That's so true. It's so interesting. That's an area I hope there's more science that comes out about, because I've heard a couple doctors talk about it, but a lot of them say we know about as much about the gut biome as we do the ocean. It's so expansive, but I think everything you're saying is true. And one of the things I've learned too is there's different die-off periods of the gut biome where people doing carnivore, for example, maybe 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, they'll have this wave of intense cravings or horrible dreams, or just like, oh, I want to eat carbs so bad. And that's usually the gut biome. It's a change in the gut biome. And it's like trying to do everything it can to get you to eat. Gut's connected to the brain. It's like a huge part of all of it that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. So awesome. This has been incredible, Bill. I really thank you for coming on here and sharing your story. It's going to inspire a lot of people. My last question for you before we wrap up is, what sort of advice would you give someone? I have a lot of new carnivores watching this. They're thinking about maybe starting carnivore, but they think it's insane. They think it's crazy, but now they're hearing your story and they want to feel like you're feeling. What would you say to them?
I would say definitely do it, but there's a few steps to take. I wouldn't advise anybody to do carnivore straight off the bat. Just go straight into it. I know people do it, and some people succeed, but I would seriously consider easing into it. Do your research first.
Quick interruption. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in learning more about our documentary, Healing Humanity, The Power of a Proper Human Diet, or supporting it, please visit donate.healinghumanity.movie. Our goal is to reach millions of people that are hopeless right now, and sharing the examples of real people over the course of 1 year that are undertaking a proper human diet to overcome obesity, type 2 diabetes, depression, anxiety, fertility issues. We couldn't do it without you. We thank you so much. We are also selling these shirts, Healing Humanity, The Power of a Proper Human Diet. Every penny we get from those goes towards the documentary. And last, we have memberships. If you click the little join button, it's best to do it on desktop. Under any one of my YouTube videos, you can join and become a member. We have hundreds of members right now. We do members only videos. We do members only behind the scenes. You can email me as a member and I'll answer you. And every penny from that goes to support the documentary. And the last thing is we have these Redmonds portable salt shakers. These things are awesome. You can get the best salt. You can take it with you. We sell these on the website along with our water bottles and cutting boards, and every penny from all of those goes 100% towards supporting the documentary. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which is completely free. All of these links are in the description below. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to today's video.
Get everything into your head, which is going to help you. Take in all the videos, take in all of the research, get it in your head, and set yourself a date in the future, maybe 6 weeks' time or something like that. You've got to remember, you've got to go through a transition phase, what we were just talking about, to get rid of the gut microbiome. That's going to happen once you start carnivore. I would say do your research. Maybe it's 4 weeks before you start to do carnivore. Cut the sugar. Cut the sugar and seed oils and ultra-processed food. Cut it out for 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Then keep eating as normally as you can. Have snacks and stuff like that. But after them 2 to 4 weeks, which you've cut out the sugar and the seed oils, I would say try and cut out the snacks. Snacks are a big thing with people. It used to be a big thing with me. I forever had something. If you're sitting watching TV or something like that, there was always something in my face. Cut the snacks. Get yourself prepared for what's coming. And then set the date and commit to it. Don't go at this half-hearted. This isn't something which is going to be like a dead easy thing. Commit to it. Give yourself 3 months. Just give yourself 3 months. That's all that it'll take to change your mind. 3 months. Once you get to that 3 months, be strict with it. Don't deviate from it. Don't think, I'll have a coffee here or I'll have this here. Be very strict for 3 months. You can do it. And you'll find that you'll do it for the rest of your life. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody who's done 3 months strict carnivore and changed back. No, a hope in hell. No, it's not going to happen because you feel that. Incredible. I feel like I did when I was sort of 25, something like that. It took 40 years of my life. And I hope that it's extended it by another 40 years. If I don't have a car crash or anything drastic happens, I'm sure I'm going to live to 100.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bill. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story. You had me on the edge of the seat. Open invite. It's going to inspire a lot of people. So if anyone has any questions or comments for Bill, I'm sure we're going to get a lot. So thank you so much, Bill. Before we wrap up real quick, is there anything else you want to mention or shout out? Are you on social media or anything you want to share?
No, I'm not on any social media or anything. If anybody does want to get in touch with me, just put my email address there and I'll get back to them.
Okay, absolutely. I'll share that in the description below. Thank you so much, Bill. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kerry. It's been an honor and pleasure talking to you.